The gentlewoman from Iowa, Ms. Axne, who is the Vice Chair of the Subcommittee on Housing, Community and Development, and Insurance, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman, and thank you for all the work that you understand is important to this country, which is housing for Americans and affordable housing in all parts of our country. And I'm here to actually ask questions about the real issues that we're facing. And thank you to all of our folks here for attending. A study recently found in Iowa, 75% of our children under 6 years old had lead in their blood. This is the fourth highest in the country. Dr. Del Rio, I know this isn't quite your specialty area, but can you tell me a little bit about how lead can affect children?
Thank you very much for your question, Representative Axne. Yes, lead accumulates in the brains of children, and therefore it impacts their development. Many years ago, the government banned lead in paint and in toys and in other things that could lead to children licking that lead and leading then to lead intoxication, which causes anemia, causes many things, but eventually will cause developmental deficit. And those children with lead intoxication in their house are probably never going to develop normally and will have developmental disabilities, which will lead them then to actually not be able to be productive Americans. So we are really hurting our future by exposing children to lead.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, there's literally no safe level of lead for children. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not an expert in that area, but my answer will probably be no. Lead is not something that normally goes into our bodies. So any lead could probably be dangerous lead.
I appreciate that. And unfortunately, having this kind of level of lead poisoning in Iowa's children is very concerning to me. And so I want to focus on some of the causes and solutions that we might have here. Mr. Shahid, my understanding is that lead is far more likely in areas where there's more older housing, especially housing from 40 years ago or more. Does that fit with your research?
Yes, thank you, Representative, for that question. Yes, it does. Our housing stock, really across the nation, has not gotten the attention, particularly that housing that's relied on, households with fixed income. So our elders, as well as low-income families, just haven't had the type of upgrading and regular upkeep and maintenance. And the lead issue is both an issue of paint inside the house, but also issues, as we know, obviously with Flint. And with many other municipal water systems as well. So lead also in the water lines.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It appears we don't see the same level of issues with new housing. So Ms. Rice, is building new housing or replacing older housing with new, as we've structured in the Build Back Better Act, likely to improve our children's health by better protecting them from lead?
Yes, it definitely will. And in addition to that, as I alluded to earlier, the Neighborhood Homes Investment Act provides substantial subsidies to enable the refurbishment, the renovation, and the rehabilitation of naturally occurring affordable housing that is already existent in our communities throughout the nation. So it provides the funding needed to remove the lead paint and to update the water lines.
Thank you for that. One last thing, I was surprised to learn when I got to Congress that we've had no USDA multifamily housing built in more than a decade. So this is, of course, housing for our rural communities. And we all know you can't expect to have safe, affordable housing for everyone if we don't build anything new. And that's why I've been working to fix this for a couple of years. Funding for new USDA housing is included in the bill we passed here last month. Ms. Rice, I'm wondering if you can describe the impact that you think bringing also affordable housing out to our rural areas could do for this country.
That's tremendously important. One of the challenges that we face in rural communities is problems around infrastructure and the ability of that infrastructure to support safe and healthy housing. So the funding to support rural housing development is really critical.
Well, thank you so much. I know that we need to get this work done to build more affordable housing, of course, for our working families. And a key part of that for me is to make sure that we protect our Iowa kids from the dangers of lead exposure in these older homes. I hope that we can all come together as Americans to make sure that we protect our children and have safe, affordable housing for people across this country. Thank you so much for your time and being here. I appreciate all of your testimonies, and I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you.